We're glad you're with us. I'm Terri. Brewer. Lynn Brooks has the evening off. We start this Friday evening with a look at your weather. A lot of folks are hitting the road to Tennessee for Bama's football game, and others might be planning a night out on the town. Whatever your plans will this beautiful weather stick around for the weekend? It is really nice out there. Chief Meteorologist Richard Scott has the answer. Richard, we need to keep this weather here for a little bit longer.
Yeah, Terry, and a good Friday evening to you. A little dusty out there this evening. Maybe you notice some of that dust on the horizon thanks to a dust storm west of us, some of the remnants of that. But overall, it's nice. 70 degrees in Tuscaloosa, 75 down in Montgomery. It will cool off quickly tonight. We have that clear sky, still windy right now, but the wind's going to settle down pretty quickly this evening just after sunset. The local high school football game's going to need the blanket, the hot chocolate, and the jacket out there. Going to be a cold night out there. We're talking 50 degrees by 10 o'clock, and for this time of year, that is pretty chilly, 48, likely at midnight. But how about that game day forecast? We'll take you up to Knoxville for the big Alabama game happening on Saturday. Your forecast is straight ahead.
All right, thank you, Richard. Well, fall and football go hand in hand, but for the folks over at Kentuck Park, it is time to bring a West Alabama tradition back for the 41st time. Artists and vendors are making their way into the park to start setting up for this weekend's festivities. The festival is Saturday and Sunday in Northport. There will be work from internationally acclaimed folk artists, free hands-on art making for the kids, live music, live demonstrations, food, and much more. Artists say it's the atmosphere that makes this festival stand out from the rest.
Being from a hometown, you don't always know you got something great. And you don't always realize how great it is. But Kentucky is just so respected by everybody.
I can't give this show up. I've given up a lot of other shows in these a little bit more economically hard times. I've dropped places like Milwaukee and Denver, but I can't give up Kentucky.
Tickets are $10 per person per day. The festival starts at 9 Saturday and Sunday morning and runs until 5 p.m. For more information, go to WVUATV.com, click numbers and links. Well, the Alabama Crimson Tide is gearing up for its game tomorrow against the Tennessee Vols. The Alabama Crimson Tide football team will face what could be its biggest challenge of the season so far. Tomorrow, Alabama's defense has come out strong in the first 6 games. They're currently ranked first in both the SEC and the country in scoring defense. The game starts at 6 o'clock tomorrow evening. It'll air on ESPN. You'll get a preview of the game later at 5 in Alabama's home team sport. And meanwhile, the University of Alabama is gearing up for a big homecoming celebration this year, and so is WVUA. Alabama's home team homecoming is set for Saturday, October 27th. That's next week. And this year's theme is Timeless Traditions. Speaking of traditions, the First Lady of Alabama football, Mrs. Terri Saban, who you see right there, will once again be our celebrity co-host on our award-winning telecast. We'll have special live coverage of the parade from the heart of the Capstone starting next Saturday at 2 p.m. And before that, we have a big weekend planned this weekend. WVUA is the place to start your football Saturdays. Don't miss Crimson Tide kickoff tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Gary Harris will have complete game day coverage with special guests, including former Crimson Tide player John Michael Boswell and Tennessee radio analyst Tim Priest. Plus, a breakdown of the matchup and feature stories on the Tide. That's Saturday morning only right here on WVUA TV. And before you wake up with Crimson Tide kickoff, get your football fix tonight. Football Friday is right after WVUA News at 10. Gary Harris and the WVUA sports team will bring you all the highlights from West Alabama's biggest high school games. That's starting at 10:35 tonight. Well, what does basketball legend Shaquille O'Neal have to do with the University of Alabama? Soon you will see the answer on your television screen. The University of Alabama unveiled its Less Than You Think public service announcement last night at Innisfree Irish Pub in Tuscaloosa. O'Neal appears in the PSA that was put together by a student group aimed at stopping binge drinking. Students say they held the screening at a bar so they could educate people at the point of consumption.
Tonight we're launching the Shaq PSA. After 6 months of hard work, we just want everyone to come out and enjoy the PSA and just have a good time.
The Less Than You Think campaign started at the University of Alabama, and now the students behind it say they're working to take it statewide. On your election watch, the presidential candidates are busy on the campaign trail. With 2 debates down and 1 to go, President Obama and Mitt Romney say they're spending Friday and the weekend campaigning and getting ready for their final matchup on Monday. The president will speak at a campaign rally at George Mason University in Virginia tonight, while Michelle Obama and Bill Clinton are speaking at separate rallies in Wisconsin. Obama's running mate Joe Biden is in Florida for the day, speaking at campaign events there. And Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney is also in Virginia and Florida today. He hosted an event in Virginia this morning before heading down to Florida, where his running mate has already been campaigning. Vice presidential candidate Ryan spoke at a press conference in Tampa this afternoon. Both he and Romney will appear at an event in Daytona Beach tonight. The next presidential debate is scheduled for 8 Monday night at Lynn University in Boca Raton, Florida. And the 2012 presidential election is only 18 days away, and the deadline to register to vote is even closer. Registration officials say the deadline to register is a week from today. That is Friday, October 26th. They say being this close to the deadline, you need to deliver your form in person instead of mailing it. And if you're voting by an absentee ballot, it must be postmarked no later than the day prior to the election or hand-delivered to the election manager by 5 p.m. on the day prior to the election. Well, Friday night means high school football here and across the country. In Texas, it's a victory off the field for cheerleaders at a public high school who were using Bible verses to fire up their fans. A judge ruled this week that the cheerleaders can continue to display banners with the Bible verses for now, pending trial next year. School officials got complaints about the signs and banned the cheerleaders from using them. The cheerleaders and their parents sued, claiming the ban violated their free speech rights.
Students and teachers do not shed their constitutional rights to free speech when they walk through the schoolhouse gate. So if you're in the hallway between classes or you happen to be on a football field and you're a student, you're still an American citizen. You don't shed your rights to free speech.
From our standpoint, we think it's another indicator that the students were right in exercising their constitutional rights by displaying the religious messages on the banners. So we think that's support for our position, and we think it's strong support because the governor also weighed in and thought that this was something that should be allowed in the school districts in Texas.
The governor of Texas and the attorney general are backing the cheerleaders. They say the banners are constitutional because the signs were made on the students' own time off school property with their own money. The attorney for the school district said the superintendent is just trying to follow the law.